So I just arrived in Belarus, and first impressions for many years, is that wow, it's really chilled out here, really quiet, just came straight through, no passport control or anything. On second thoughts, this is not good. I basically accidentally, illegally entered the country. That has got to be one of the coolest Soviet modernist airports anywhere in the whole of the ex-Soviet Union, surely. So you might think I've come to like an abandoned airport, it's the sort of thing I would do, but no, I've not. I've come to a fully functioning airport, but it looks like it's abandoned because basically there's no one around apart from me, which is a shame because I kind of wouldn't mind some assistance. If this airport was any more old school, I would actually be back in the USSR. I found a policeman who said he was a bit too busy to speak to me, so I found a security staff, and the security person said they don't do the stamping here at all. So basically, yeah, I'm just going to have to be illegal here. So the main problem with me sort of having illegally entered the country is that it's going to be difficult now for me to stay in hotels or anything like that, because they won't accept me if I've been here illegally. So that's a bit of a tricky one. Okay, not good again. Even though it's only 4:30 in the afternoon, the airport is just closed. The security guys came around and asked me to leave, basically, because they're closing up for the day. Welcome to rural Belarus. It's still got a nice autumn feel here, even in November. So I talked myself into getting a bed for the night at the hotel, just the nearest one, opposite the bus station, so that's kind of lucky, so not having to sleep rough tonight. The only room that seems to be available is this one with 4 beds, which I didn't really need because I'm just one person. And the people that stayed here last night must have been smoking all night, because when I came in, both the windows were open, and it's now absolutely freezing in here. School radiators here. I mean, I'd say, well, be generous and say warm. Now, I think it's fair to say this hotel has probably seen better days, but my goodness, it's got some pretty cool piece of Soviet art all around the hotel, which shows that it must have had a pretty illustrious past. In fact, it has had 2 presidents have stayed in this humble little hotel. That's also interesting. This man here was a very popular Russian poet and actor and singer, and he was in a relationship with this French woman here, but of course this was during the USSR, and he couldn't leave the country because he wasn't quite trusted. So basically she came 4 times and stayed in this hotel with him, because of course we're right on the border of the old USSR. So perhaps for whatever reason she chose to enter the USSR each time by train or car. That's why they met here. My goodness, it's not just 1 or 2 pieces of art either. Look, I mean, it's like an art gallery in here. Some really good stuff as well. Actually, I wonder if that's a young Lukashenko, the president of Belarus. I mean, it's from 1988, so could well be. Not surprisingly, Lukashenko is one of those presidents that stayed here, and the other one is Fidel Castro, who visited in 1972. Oh, so that said, he was the first president of Belarus. Now, Belarus has been independent since the fall of the USSR in 1991, which means he's been president for 34 years. Must be very popular to keep getting re-elected. Travelling around provincial Belarus clearly isn't going to be easy. I woke up about 3:15 today, couldn't go back to sleep again. Come out to find breakfast, and apparently there's only one place open in the whole city at the moment. It's about 6:45 now, and that's at the train station. Even my hotel breakfast doesn't start until 7:30 or 8. That's the city centre, that side, and then you see clearly it's the wrong side of the tracks, because that's the train station just there. Because normally the train station leads out into the city centre, not the backside. To be honest, the train station buffets are always awful, but basically at the moment you either have some awful food or have no food at all. Well, that's well cool. I just walked in the train station without going through any security. Well, in Russia, every train station, the Olympic station, has like airport type security, so that's a bonus. Just walk straight in here. Oh cool, here's the buffet. Just going to wait till it gets light. That'll be about 8:30 or something. What else can I do when it's dark? So just sit here and wait. But we'll check out the town, don't worry. Can you believe that? The hotel's actually called Hotel Bug. I mean, how ironic, because that's exactly the kind of place where you'd expect to find bed bugs and other kind of bugs. Just come across the Lenin statue of the city, and what's funny is that pretty coincidentally, he's got his back towards the EU and pointing towards Russia and the Soviet Union. The future's that way. Well, I mean, he's right. It has been, hasn't it? So like I said, I was up at 3:15 today, and one of the downsides to being sleep deprived is that you basically just find anything funny. That's already the second thing I found funny today. That's not even that funny. But whatever, better than being grumpy. But I mean, I'll probably be that as well soon. But yeah, so yeah, I'm a bit tired today, so I think I'll probably be on even worse form than usual, if that's possible. Actually, lucky I'm just sleep deprived and not sleep deprived and hungover or something like that. Otherwise, I'd be finding it all hilarious. Here you can see how the city used to look before Hitler's forces came and destroyed it. So I'm on my way to Brest's main and probably only site. And now's as good a time as any, I thought, to explain a little bit more about me being an illegal alien. If I can be as succinct as I can so you don't get too bored. Basically, as I've got residence permit for Russia, there's a new rule which means I can now use it in Belarus, so I can come to Belarus no problem. However, the authorities didn't want to make it too easy for people, and actually it seems that it's only applicable, this rule, at certain entry points in Belarus, not any entry point. And it seems that Brest airport, where I entered, is not one of those places. So basically, that's why I'm an illegal alien. Now, I tried to obviously hand myself in straight away, but the airport was closing for the day, as you saw, so basically no one really wanted anything to do with the crazy foreigner. Luckily I managed to get in the hotel okay, which I was a bit worried about. That's probably because, you know, the hotel staff didn't know that I was a legal alien. Because, you know, if I'd have entered the country by bus or even train, I think, but certainly bus or by car, it's an open border, so, you know, that's absolutely okay. So that's the problem. I've been stamped out of Russia, but I haven't been stamped in Belarus or anywhere else for that matter. I wasn't planning on going back via Brest, but I might have to do that now, because if I go somewhere where Minsk or somewhere where I'm going to get a security check, well then they're going to wonder where my entrance stamp is, but I haven't got an entrance stamp. That's it. I know it wasn't as succinct as it could have been. Anyway, I quite like the way the Belarusians deal with it. Most places, if you enter illegally, you'll be detained. But in Belarus, they took the opposite approach and basically evicted me from the airport. Yeah. And as amazing as this might sound, Belarus is now the 5th different country in the ex-Soviet Union or disputed country that I have now accidentally entered illegally. I mean, you wouldn't believe it's possible, but yeah, 5 different countries in the region, because, you know, it's just so, the rules keep changing all the time, and it's just so complex. Now, normally I actively avoid anything that could be considered any kind of site, but on this occasion I'm going to make an exception, because this is a bit special. This is not just one of the main sites in Brest or in Belarus. It's one of the main sites throughout the whole of the Soviet Union. What you're about to see is absolutely monumental. There's no other way of describing it. So I've already mentioned that this was the most western part of the USSR, and of course when Hitler's troops landed, this was the first place that had to try and defend itself, this small little town against the huge military machine which was, Nazi Germany. They put up a plucky, in fact heroic fight against the Nazis, but obviously it wasn't enough. Unfortunately, the peaceful memorial has been completely shattered by the gardener collecting the leaves. Of course, you see all around the remains of the fortress, which was completely destroyed.